What's Gucci, guys? So today we'll be talking about why Enneagram is better than Socionics. Now don't misunderstand this video. It's not about me saying I don't like Socionics, I'm not gonna use Socionics, or you should use Enneagram more than you should use Socionics. Not at all. In fact, I like Socionics. I like to circle jerk Socionics on the daily. It is my guilty pleasure. If we look at typology as a way to develop yourself or self-actualize, right? Become more healthy, use it in a way that it's not just a circle jerk. It becomes almost like a weapon, a positive weapon. In that case, the answer has to be Enneagram. Because Enneagram was not designed for you to circle jerk it on the daily. It was made as a way, as a tool for people to become psychologically and spiritually healthy. Better versions of themselves. That's why they did it. That's what Naranjo used Enneagram for. To give people therapy, identify people neuroses and then psychoanalyze them, gave them psychotherapy or some bullshit like that, gave them some LSD or some shit to make it easier, and boom, voila, someone's cured. Socionics was never used in mind to like what the f***? It's used in mind for people to become healthy. How the f*** is that gonna work exactly? That's my kind of question when it comes to Socionics. You have a super ego block which you try to self-actualize. So, okay, that answers stuff. Sure, it will tell you what you're bad at. It will tell you what you're good at. That's also great. No one's really saying opposite. But it's also saying that, hey, you are doomed and the only person that can save you is your dual. I'm an asshole because that's my type. And I'm always going to be an asshole until I have my dual who's going to make me better. It's like, that's okay. I don't like this attitude. We can do it our own. We can grow on our own. And if you go to a psychologist's office, right, they'll tell you the same thing. You should try to grow. Just because you are an LSC doesn't mean you should be a dickhead, or an LSI, right? Okay, you have hard time with people and it's kind of, no one cares. You don't need your dual. You need to become better version of yourself, and you can do that shit on your own. It's something that helps people understand their cognition, but that's the difference. It's cognition. When you look at Enneagram, and what makes it so good is that it really dives deep in your psyche. It looks at the wounds that you have experienced, your childhood, the way you developed, your reactions, your behaviors, your defense mechanisms, your neuroses. It looks at all of those things. Subtype books have 600 pages each. Obviously, there's a big inspiration from the Freudian psychology, for better or worse. Some people might say, that's kind of cringe, I don't want to f*** my mom. I get that and I respect it. But there is something that Freud did that certainly provides us with some answers, some insights. He was a smart man. Socionics will tell you your cognition. But in a sense, it just tells you how you think. Okay? That's basically it. So you can have two types that are the same types, but they're completely different people, completely different values, completely different behaviors. It's like, yeah, they share the same cognition. Cool, cool. To me, that means, okay, it's a good circle jerk system. I can circle jerk it. I can do it for fun. I love it, right? I love to circle jerk systematic thinking. So I understand. That's what I would do it for. But not to let me grow and let me really defeat my neurotic behaviors. That's why I use Enneagram for. How I'm behaving badly. I'm not saying, that's because of FI ego and that's why I'm behaving badly. No, that's a negative reaction because I'm in the passion of lust and I'm clearly justifying my actions with the fixation of rebellion. I'm coping right now, right? It's not just an explanation. It's a template of telling you, look what you're doing. You can defeat this. You can overcome this, and that's what Enneagram does. With Socionics, it's more like, well, that's really just because you're FI ego. It's like, okay, so it's not good. It's not good or bad. You're just FI ego. It's like, okay, so that's just it. It's just peak neutrality. There's nothing there. Whenever I'm struggling with something and I see some of my behaviors pop up, I don't look at that's an SEE shit. The fuck? How is that going to help me? I look at, okay, that's the 8-core shit. That's what's happening. And that's what I do with everyone in my life. And it's very helpful. Then we also have another part of Enneagram, which the fact is Enneagram is much more mainstream. For better or worse, right? There are even celebrities that are quite known that mentioned Enneagram and even kind of dwelled in Enneagram. No celebrity knows about Socionics. No one knows about Socionics. Socionics is like, there are motherfuckers in Eastern Europe, in those schools, right? Hidden underground Socionic schools that know about that. No one else does. It's so niche. No one gives a shit about it. There's much bigger potential with Enneagram because it's already popular. Enneagram is already kind of popular enough where it just needs a little bit of push to get into the mainstream where everyone can talk about, just like they did with MBTI. The difference is there's a huge advantage with Enneagram that every other system lacks, including Socionics, including MBTI. It can be promoted as a fucking self-growth tool. It can be used as a tool to guide you in your mental health journey, right? To make you the best version of yourself, to overcome your struggles that maybe you are trying to overcome your struggles with the therapist for the last 5 years. So, to be honest, if it's promoted the right way and marketed the right way, it can be revolutionary. Sadly, that cannot be done with Socionics, because what the fuck are we going to do with Socionics? I'm going to go in public and say, what? Socionics is going to tell you how you think. That's cool. Yeah, but no one gives a shit about that. People in the majority of human race doesn't give a fuck about that. We live in a world and a society where now it's all about self-development. For better or worse, some people circle jerk being a Sigma, having a million cars. Oh wow, I need to become the best version of myself. I need to do a million push-ups. I need to be as rich as possible. But I'm not talking about that self-development. That's superficial. Real self-development, development of the soul, of your, of who you are, of your character, of your mental health. The true growth, which is priceless. I mean, think about it. The growth of who you are as a person, which will allow you to unlock your truest potential and to help you overcome your struggles. That's fucking priceless. That's priceless. Obviously, there are some things that the Socionics does better than Enneagram. If you're just interested in typing yourself, right? Let's say you just want to type yourself, you want to figure out your type. Once you understand Socionics, it's much easier to type yourself or even other people, because you are operating from a very systematic thinking. There are strict dichotomies, there's 8 elements, everything is defined, everything is explained. It's like a mathematical equation. That's what it is. It's like mathematical equation. And that's the benefit when it comes to applying it and trying to type people. It's much, much easier. You don't need people to go in depth to really know what elements they might be using. You can get away even with them not saying shit. You might know what elements are being used, what dichotomies are being used, right? No, someone's more impulsive. They kind of react quickly to the environment. Wow, static type 1 billion, so easy. How easy was that? But you cannot really do that with Enneagram. Oh yeah, he's assertive and dominant. Oh shit, now you have a couple of subtypes to eliminate from different types and core types. He hates being controlled. He must be an 8 core. Well, doesn't mean shit. Many types don't like being controlled. Socionics, it has a benefit when it comes to typing yourself and other people. It's easier, right? Easier. And it certainly provides certain things about yourself. But most importantly, I would say it helps you understand people's thinking process. That's the benefit of Socionics. It allows you to think, okay, why do other people think the way they do? I cannot change the way they do. Now you understand they're not like you. Other people don't operate like you do. You cannot hold them to the same standards as you might hold yourself. So your mentality changes, which is beneficial. That's the good thing. Enneagram is much more intuitive. That is the reality. It doesn't have strict rules. It just doesn't. I mean, we can make it easier to ourselves by creating a certain fundamental template of certain rule set that might make it easier. But the truth is, it's very intuitive. Billy Hargrove is a sexual 6 because look at this. He is scared of his father, so then he does bully other people. That means he's a sexual. This argument makes perfect sense. From their perspective, it's the motivation of fear. Then he bullies others. He bullies others because he's scared. It makes perfect sense in this person's head. They're brain dead, of course, but it doesn't matter. And another person can see the nuance. But it relies on your ability to not only understand the system, but to be able to understand the nuances in people. You cannot just look at something and be like, oh, that's this behavior, so that's clearly that type. No, it's not as black and white as it is in Socionics. Socionics is much simpler that way. Yes, you do what you do, but why do you do that? And those questions are hard. It's not universal. There's no rules, rigid rules for that. That's kind of my thing with it. I have made the most progress, 100%, going from more unhealthy patterns of behavior to healthy patterns of behavior with Enneagram. And Enneagram explained it to me perfectly. That's why I personally would always use it as a way to develop myself. If I'm trying to understand my neurotic behaviors, my bad behaviors, I've always looked at Enneagram because Socionics ain't going to tell me shit. Socionics is just going to explain, well, you do this because that's your element. Yeah, cool. So to me, of course, I'm always going to be a Socionics circle jerker. But when it comes to self-growth, when it comes to day-to-day, how I use those systems, I do prefer Enneagram, and I like it for what it can offer me to really truly understand myself and all the ugly sides, which I'm more interested in that sense, right? Because you need to know the fucking bad to know the good. You need to know the bad to fix it. You need to know the bad to get better, to become the best version of yourself. So that's kind of how it goes. But I love both systems. Is Socionics the better system, or is it Enneagram? Which one is it? Comment down below your opinions and your thoughts on this subject. I'm out, I'm Chowers, and I'm bouncing.